Hey guys, welcome back to Bait and Tackle, and today we're going to do something I wanted to do for a while. And every time I've gone fishing, and you'll probably see that in the video before this one, I have had so much success on that Googan crack and craw white. I don't know what it is about the bait, but when I smell it, I'm trying to diagnose it. I'm trying to break it down to see what it's made out of, see what it smells like, that kind of thing. I get a real strong licorice smell, like an anise smell. But today what we're gonna do is I bought a whole bunch, and I can't find the white crack and craws anywhere now. All I can find is the bandito bugs. So what I thought we would do is we would take these Googan white bandito bugs and melt them down, and then we'll let the cup set up, we'll let the plastic set up so we can cut it apart and look at it, see what kind of salt content it has. I also kind of want to see, maybe we can match the smell a little bit. I want to kind of dissect it a little bit and see what is actually in these baits that makes them so good. But what we'll do is we'll melt them down, we'll kind of dissect them, and then when we're done dissecting them, we'll remelt the plastic down again, and we're gonna make some of my favorite craws, the Ecto Craw. So we will melt down the plastic from the Googan bandito bugs, and we will remake some Ecto Craws. And then at some point in a future video, what I'd like to do is kind of compare the two. I've got some crack and craws on order. Finally, I found some online, so I've got them coming to the house. So what we'll do is I'll do a comparison video at some point here throughout the summer, and we'll use the Ecto Craws with the melted down bandito bugs, and which should be in theory the same plastic. And what we'll do is we will kind of do a side-by-side comparison between the Ecto Craw. I really want to know if it's the action of the craw, or is it the actual plastic and its contents that is actually what is catching these fish. So stay tuned. This is going to be a pretty cool video. Here we go. Alright guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to open up all these packages, and I got 8 packages, so let's see how many we can fit into this cup. I don't know how much we're going to be able to fit. I'm just going to go ahead and just go with as many as I can fit in this cup. But the smell of it, I don't know, it's got something else in it too. It's not just anise. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some heat stabilizer in between here, and we are just going to sit here and cut these apart and put them and fill up this cup. So let's go ahead and do like a little time lapse, then we'll get it heated up and melted down. Okay guys, so I've got the 4 cups of plastic, or I've got 4 packages of Googan baits in here, bandito bugs. I'm going to put a little bit of heat stabilizer in there. We're going to get them heated up, and I think with all these in here, this will melt down. It'll probably give us, I'd say maybe a cup, so with all the air in there and whatnot. So we'll just go ahead and do this separate. I'm going to save the other 4 packages, and we'll do them either some other time, or yeah, we'll just do them as 2 different batches. So I'm going to go ahead and start heating this up to get it up to about 3. I'm going to heat it up for about 3 minutes. See if we can get it up to a good temperature. We'll probably end up having to do the vacuum chamber to degas it. But let's go ahead and get this melted down, and then I'm going to get some of the air bubbles out of it. Then I'm going to let it set up here on the table, and then so it's going to sit here for a little bit. And we'll come back and we'll dissect it and see. I want to see if I can see the content of the salt in it and feel it like in the bottom, because the salt will settle right to the bottom, and we'll see how much salt is in these baits. Hopefully it'll settle enough that we can actually see it. Now I probably won't be able to show you as a visual that it's like that, but I'll be able to feel it, so I can kind of guesstimate, tell you guys, how much salt's in these baits. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I'm going to guess that there's a pretty good amount of salt in these baits, because they rip apart pretty easy. which I understand, because consumerism, they want to sell more baits, and you want to salt them down really good, so then that way that they rip and you have to buy more. I mean, I understand that. So, and this isn't a video to go against Googan or anything like that. I'm not doing that. I'm just trying to understand what it is about. I'm just curious what it is in these baits that makes them so appealing, just to the fish that I'm actually fishing for in specific locations. Because there are a lot of lakes on the eastern side of Virginia that they love these white Kraken craws, and I want to kind of put it to the test. I mean, we'll see if it really is an action thing later on in another video, or if it truly is just the scent and smell of the bait. So it's going to be kind of cool to match the Ecto Craw up to the Bandito bug, just to see, because personally I think they both have really good action, and I think that they'll both get bit. But we'll do some kind of try to do a fair test of both and see if we can get bit. So stay tuned. Let's get the plastic heated up. Let's get it degassed, so then that way we can get it broken down. Alright guys, I just took this out, and I can feel the salt in the bottom already. I can feel it like crazy. And I got a funny feeling this is going to be a very soft plastic too. Okay, so it's at about 360 right now, which is good. I'm going to go ahead and degas it so that we can get rid of the air bubbles. So I've got it degassed, and it looks very clean. I got all the bubbles out of it the best I could. We're gonna let it sit here and set up. I think we're good now. The smell that I'm getting from this, it's not quite anise. It really smells like a licorice, and I need to see if I can find this scent online, or maybe somebody's done some research already and found what this scent actually is, because I'm not sure. It's not just anise. It's like a combo, or it's just a specific anise they use. I don't know, but I need to find that out and see what the deal is there. But it does have a pretty good scent. I do like the scent on it. I don't think it tells you on the package what kind of scent it does. It says slaunch sauce on it. Maybe that's what I need to look at. But anyway, so we will let this set up for a little while. I've got some other stuff I've got to go do, so let's let this set up, let all the salt settle to the bottom, because I have a funny feeling there's going to be a lot in this, and we will come back and dissect it. So I turned the fan off. This is still a little bit warm, so it's pretty soft in the middle. I'm sure it's still probably gooey, but I can already tell just by doing this that there's probably about that much salt on the bottom. So probably about, like, I don't know, I'd have to say, if we put it back in there, probably a quarter of a cup of salt. This entire bottom is completely salt. Let me take out a wedge and see if we can just kind of diagnose it a little bit. Okay, so right there I can tell. Let me see if I can put this in my hand, and you could probably see it. Let me do it that way. Let me focus this in. Try not to. Okay, so see all the salt there? It's just starting to be plastic up here. So you've got probably at least a quarter of a cup of salt. That is a lot of salt, which I'm not surprised. That doesn't surprise me at all. So the one thing that I need to keep in mind when I'm redoing the Ecto Craws with this is I need to heat it up sufficiently and make sure that it's stirred up enough to where we can pour it and it's getting the right amount of salt back into the new baits. So again, a lot of salt. The plastic itself is very soft. Like, this is probably some of the softest plastic that I've seen. It's not quite, I'm trying to think of what the right texture is. It's not quite robo-worm type super soft, but it's close. I mean, it rips apart pretty easy, but it's a little bit stout when you got enough of it there. So again, it's a very, very soft plastic and a fair amount of salt. So for the amount that we had here, which I think was probably melted down all the way down in there, we had about a cup. So it looks like to 1 cup of plastic, they're doing a 1/4 cup, or it's a 1/4 cup of salt and then 3/4 cup of plastic. So that's probably a good thing for me to keep in mind too when I'm making future baits. I don't typically use salt. I have in the past a little bit, but I don't use it very often. So I may start incorporating some salt into my baits, just not so much for, you know, durability wise, but I think the salt, you know, as bad as it sounds, the consumerism part with the baits getting ripped apart and you have to buy more, the part that I'm more concerned with is, will the fish bite these more because they're more soft and they have that salt taste to them, because fish can taste. So I'm wondering if they can taste that salt and that kind of makes them hang on to that bait longer. Don't know. I mean, these are some things that I probably need to do some more research on. But I think we've got a path forward now. So what I think I'll do is I'll cut this up into pieces just to get it so that it'll remelt again. And we will go ahead, now that we've dissected it, we will go ahead and shoot some Ecto Craws. And the smell is still there. And I think I said it before, but on the back of the package, it actually says slaunch sauce there in the corner. So I'm not sure if they have their own slaunch sauce, like that type of scent, or if they're using a combo of different scents. I'm not sure. So that's going to be some stuff I'm going to investigate and look into. But let's go ahead and melt this down. We'll cut this up into pieces. We'll melt it down and we'll make some Ecto Craws. So then that way for the next video when I do the comparison, we've got a bunch of Ecto Craws poured and we can try them. Okay, we're not quite there yet. I was probably at a little over 300 degrees. I want to get this pretty warm. I want to make sure that when you shoot these Ecto Craws that we get into all the little appendages. I know that they have some little antenna and stuff like that are going to be a little bit harder to get in. So I'm going to go ahead and get this nice and hot. I'm at about a little over 300. We're going to get it closer between 350 and 400. And then we will go ahead and shoot these baits. And then I think I'll just do this once, and then I'll probably do the rest of them off camera. I'll probably make up the rest of the batch. I'm gonna try to use the whole cup if I can. And we will come back once I get everything done. But first we'll shoot a couple of these and just see how they come out, make sure the salt content is mixed in good. And I'm not gonna worry about putting it back in the degassing chamber again. It got cleaned up pretty good the first time around. So again, I'm just trying to get to heat, trying to make sure, because we are going to stir it up again pretty good, because I want to make sure that all that salt content's in there. But we're not really too concerned with the air bubbles, because you're probably not going to see them anyway, because this is pretty thick white. And right now we are at 370, and I'm going to go ahead and we're going to try to shoot these, but let me just make sure that the salt is all in there real good. I just want to make sure that it's very mixed well, but I don't want to introduce a ton more air to it. I just want to make sure that we got enough there. So we're going to go ahead, got my big injector here, bleed it off. Just like normal. I can see the salt content in the baits already. And we're going to go ahead and top these off too, because I know for a fact that these are going to take in some plastic. They always do. So I'm just going to sit here and keep topping off these sprues. I can see it pulling it down already. There's a pretty good sized sprue there, so I'm not super concerned, but it does draw in a lot of plastic. So let's go ahead and let that set up. We'll come back and unmold these, demold these baits, and I'll show you what we got, and we'll kind of just feel them and see, make sure the salt content didn't get too messed up. But I think we're just going to do a bunch of these. And again, these packages, you're talking 7 baits per package. So I did 4 packages. What's that? 7 times 4, that's 28. So 28 baits we put in. I don't think we're going to get 28 out, but I'd be happy with 20 or, you know, even 18 at this point. I don't need that many to go do the test with. So maybe I'll be happy if we could at least get 12 to 16 baits out of this. But let's see how many it can actually do. I may save a little bit of this to pour into another mold that I've got sitting over here. So let's just see how we make out. I think it's cooled down enough. Let's demold one of these and see how we made out. And make sure we filled up all of our appendages and everything did the way we wanted to. Got a little bit of flashing on that one. Must be that one wasn't tightened down enough, but that's okay. I'm not really super concerned about flashing at the moment. But the bait feels soft, just like I would normally expect it to be. The salt content, I think, got distributed okay, but we went from a Kraken craw to an Ecto Craw. I'm sorry, not a Kraken craw. We went from a Bandito bug to a Kraken craw. So you can see that even you could have fun doing these, like if you wanted to just take a bunch of baits from the store, which they're expensive. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Now these were on sale, like $4 a package. So that's the only reason why I really wanted to do it. I knew they were on sale, so I went and bought a bunch, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna melt these down. Let's make this video, because I was really I thought this would be an interesting video. So again, a little bit of flashing on those, but that's okay. I'm going to keep those. I'm really not too super concerned about the flashing, and I can see the salt when I rip those apart. When I rip that apart, I can see the salt in the bait. So I know they're good and salty. I know they're good baits. So there's 2, and we will go ahead and demold this one as well while we're at it. And like I said, I'm going to make as many as I can. I'm going to make as many of these baits as I can. Then that way we've got an ample amount for testing. But I may save a little bit for something else. Okay, there's those 2. And those 2 did not flash as bad as the other ones did. So I think we're in good shape. But again, going from a Bandito bug to an Ecto Craw, since I couldn't find any Kraken craws at the store. Nobody wanted to sell the color white. I don't know why, but none of the Dick's Sporting Goods that I went to 3 of them, and none of them had the Kraken craws. So I'm going to go ahead and make these Ecto Craws up, which again, I think they have about the same action, but that's just me. I prefer the Ecto Craw over the Kraken craw, but Kraken craw does really well, like I said, where I fish on the eastern side of the state. So I am going to definitely give this a test. Okay, so I got the molds put back together. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the camera and do the rest of these, and we'll come back when I've got a stack of them, and we will wrap the video up. So while we're waiting for this to set up, I just wanted to try something. I wanted to take one of these baits and just see what the weight is on each one, like in ounces, and see how much each one of these baits, just so I can get a comparison of like which one bait's gonna weigh. Like this is 0.4 ounces, and an Ecto Craw is 0.42, so it's probably pretty darn close. Let's go to milliliters and see if that does any better. 11 milliliters. Okay, so it's a little bit less weight for the Bandito. So there's less plastic in this Bandito bug than there is in the Ecto Craw. So I just wanted to do that kind of comparison before we get done finished making baits, because I'm obviously not going to make as many baits as these in the package. So I just wanted to see how much off we were with the count, because like I said, 28 baits in 4 packages, I don't think I'm going to get near that much with the Ecto Craws. So right now we're looking at I got about I think 16, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, I got 12. I'm going to end up with these two having 16 baits. So not nearly as close as 28, but I probably could squeeze maybe another 4 out of there. So I might be able to get 20 out of it. So again, just keep that in mind if you ever do decide you want to try doing this, where you want to melt down some already produced baits. There is going to be some leftover. There's going to be some plastic that you're not going to be able to use. So just keep that in mind. Alright guys, so here you have it. Here is what I completed. I took 4 packages of Bandito bugs and I made 16 Ecto Craws. So 28 to 16. I probably could squeeze 4 more out. My molds are getting a little warm and I'm not kind of running out of time to make the rest of this. So this is a little bit left over. We could probably squeeze 20 out of 28 baits. So it's not bad. You lose a few baits, but these are a little bit bigger. We weighed them in the video. These are a touch bigger. They're probably a little bit more plastic than these are to begin with. So turned out really good. We found out that there was a lot of salt in the baits, which I kind of expected because they're soft. The plastic itself is very soft, which I'm not surprised. And the scent in there, I really can't nail that down. I'm going to do more research on that, try to get back to you. Maybe we'll do another revisit on this video at some point and do something different. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to end this here, and I'm going to go ahead and make another video definitely on using these as opposed to the Kraken Craws, and I've got some on order coming, so we'll be able to test those side by side. And then we will again, we'll do a couple videos in the future, maybe a revisit on this, but the sauce they use, I looked it up, this launch sauce that they use on their baits, they were developing it, and then they were going to sell it, and then something fell through. So I don't know if there was some kind of they were copying somebody or what, I don't know, I don't really care. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to see what I can do. I'm going to buy some different scents and see if we can match the scent that's in this bait. Again, it smells a lot like licorice, so we will try it. But there you go, guys. So that's what you can get out of 4 packages of Bandito bugs into some Ecto Craws. Okay guys, so that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I took some Googan bait Bandito bugs and I made a whole bunch of white Ecto Craws. Just kept the same color. We remelted them down and made these. So we're going to do a test later on in another video of those versus the Googan and Kraken Craws, and I want to see if it's something to do with the scent of the bait, which I've tried the white Kraken Craws, or I've tried the white Kraken Craws and I've tried white Ecto Craws side by side, and the Googan ones get bit every time. So I want to know, is it the scent or is it the texture? I'm trying to figure that out. So we will revisit that in another video when we come down that pike. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And remember, keep on baiting.